Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. This is the Convergence Emergence, and I am Christopher Hatton. And today we're going to talk about, the pace of acceleration and try to build an argument that the pace of acceleration is accelerating in terms of deflation due to digitization, transition to EVs, renewables, healthy foods, and automated labor. And there's a lot of things happening simultaneously, but there's a lot of evidence now that we can talk. I want to talk about two things specifically, both examples from Tesla. And the first one is Tesla started out as an EV company. So they started out with batteries. They've never made an internal combustion engine. They have zero expertise with that. Part of their original plan was, well, we're going to need to build out all of this charging infrastructure to be able to charge the EVs because we're the only ones making them in mass in the United States. I mean, there were EVs like the Nissan Leaf and the Chevy Bolt and a couple others, but that was mostly charging at home and some destination chargers, they call them, so lower charging speed, but more of them out there. What happened in the past week is pretty incredible, although very predictable. Since Tesla has been building out their charging infrastructure now globally for a while, they're getting to the point where they're starting to get tens of thousands of these stalls already installed in use around the globe. I have to look at the specific numbers for each continent, but I know by 2025, there's going to be 12,000 stalls at least here in America only, where I don't know if there's that many right now, but I know that they're increasing the rate of installation quite a bit since they're now selling a lot of cars. So that means that there's this entire charging network out there that none of the other companies are paying attention to. And there's evidence of that, not only in the charging ports that the other companies that are building EVs are using, because they're adopting other standards that have been around in other areas of the world and or here in America since the Dieselgate scandal with Volkswagen. And during Dieselgate, each state got funds for how many Volkswagens were sold, as part of a damage or a fee associated with the lie that Volkswagen told the world about their emission, and they paid. And a lot of the states set up charging infrastructure through Electrify America, which is under the CCS standard. Tesla uses something called NACS, North American Charging Standard. No other car company had adopted it or used it or put their, made that so their cars would be able to charge with it. And so the United States government set up incentives for charging infrastructure. And for Tesla to be eligible for that, they had to include adapters onto their own charging infrastructure so that people with CCS cars can pull into a Tesla charging station and then they call it the magic box, but unlock the magic box and plug it into their car. So then a NACS plug can hook to a CCS adapter and charge your car. But now what's happened in the past weeks, both Ford and GM have agreed to do two things in regards to the charging infrastructure. They've agreed to partner with Tesla to gain access to Tesla's charging infrastructure for Ford and GM customers. So this is very good because it was a demand of their customers. And these are the customers that are going to be Ford and GMs moving forward because there's a lot of brand loyalty. They're like, one of our biggest things is range anxiety, and a lot of these Electrify America things don't even work when we go to them. So we know that the Tesla network works. Why can't we use that? And it's like, we can't use that because we haven't talked to them and negotiated that yet. But that actually happened this week. And we Tesla supporters and the supporters of the business model and the master plan call this the first dominoes to fall, because what this is the beginning of is every single automaker out there either getting in line or banding together to create competition that will actually be competitive, which isn't there yet. Even though we think, like new companies like Rivian and Lucid and others will go at it on their own to begin. I think Toyota, Volkswagen, a lot of others are going to start to say, we're going to do the same thing because that network's already established. And what it gives Tesla is another billion-dollar business. So what charging infrastructure does is disrupt gas stations. So as gas stations start to be used less because people are using EVs more, Tesla's going to absorb all of that revenue and then return everything else to society as societal surplus. And that's what Tesla is going to do. It's not going to replace it one for one. It's going to be a lot cheaper to charge your vehicle than it is to fill your tank. And the rest of that money is going to go directly back into the society as something called societal surplus. And that we learn about that in economics. That's huge. So now we have confirmation from the top dogs in the industry worldwide. And I know we're talking, we need Volkswagen and Toyota for it to be actual, but the top dogs here in North America have said, Tesla's the best. We can't compete. We're going to join them. And that's confirmation that they were wrong, and listening to the old world order is wrong. So I'm more worried about the old world order, people, not what we're heading towards. The second thing that's going on is huge because it's already Tesla's next move. And they started this, I think, 18 months ago, 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago, they said, we've already won in EVs. We're going to move on to the next step. And that's energy. So then they need to scale their battery production and their power walls and megapacks. So those are their two energy storage products now. One will be revealed this year because that was in their investor day. And we think it'll be a larger power wall and then maybe something in between the megapack and the power wall. But just 3 years ago, largest battery in the world was 250 megawatts. And what the thing that's happening today is we're starting to see headlines every other day, every third day of 250, 300 megawatt, 400 megawatt batteries. So that's starting to proliferate, folks. And Tesla's getting the lion's share of it because they're the only ones that are building these things in scale, other than BYD, and they're out in China. Tesla has already won EVs, and they've already done that in their own minds as a corporation, or have already moved on to energy. And then the step after that is to labor, and that's with the robots. So that's already all in process. So we have to keep in mind, it's like, oh no, Ford and GM are now going to be able to compete and they're going to survive. Good. We're already done with transportation. We're moving on to energy. That's what's in the minds of us now, because Tesla pushed the envelope and now everybody's about to fall into line. And we're seeing that right now. All right. Thank you, guys.